Hello and welcome to the latest Crafty Simulations video. In today's episode, I joined the Royal Air Force. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Right, as according to the intro, I have joined the Royal Air Force. Well, sort of. This is the virtual Royal Air Force. They wouldn't let me join the real Royal Air Force. I wonder why. Right, anyway. It occurred to me, I was looking back through my video catalogue, and I have covered quite a few Royal Air Force training aircraft. I have covered the de Havilland Tiger Moth and de Havilland Chipmunk. And today I will be flying the RAF's latest basic training aircraft, the Tutor T1, or in normal talk, the Grob G115. And I've also noticed that this very aircraft, the Tutor T1, replaced the Scottish Aviation Bulldog. Guess what the next video is going to be? You're right, it's the Bulldog. So I thought I might as well do a whole batch of RAF based aviation flight simulation videos. Now, I know this channel is obviously dedicated more towards general aviation than it is for military aviation, but the Grob is a civilian aircraft. In fact, these aircraft, even though they're painted up in Royal Air Force colours, are actually owned by a civilian company, I do believe, that allows them to fly and train Royal Air Force pilots. But we're not going to concentrate too much on what they do in the reality world. We're going to talk about what they do in the flight sim world. So, who made this aircraft? Well, it's a company called Iris Simulations. Might not have heard of it. They are quite small nowadays, but they have been around, for me anyway, for a long time. In fact, one of my first aircraft I ever purchased from another company was the Iris Simulations MiG-29. Now, unfortunately, the MiG-29 is not available for Flight Simulator 2020, but Iris Simulations have started bringing back some of their old catalogue. They're not really known for bringing out brand new aircraft. I think the latest aircraft they brought out that's brand new would be the PC-21. They are an Australian company, I do believe. So the PC-21 is a Royal Australian Air Force training aircraft. So they have, like I say, brought back some of their old aircraft from FSX days. I don't think the Tutor was one of them. I can't honestly remember off the top of my head. They are a small company, like I said, so they have brought out 4 or 5 aircraft now that are available for Flight Simulator 2020. 2024 is still, obviously, a bit hit and miss. Let's face it, it's been hit and miss for quite a few companies. But anyway, we're going to talk about this. This is the Tutor T1 in RAF talk, and this one is actually the display Tutor T1. The RAF did make a display variant of this aircraft, and it did put on a spirited air show, even though it is quite underpowered for an air display aircraft, but it is fully capable of being chucked around all over the sky. Weirdly, yes, there is an exact second copy there. I'll go on that in a minute, but we're talking about this one here. And even though this is probably a copy of an aircraft they did for a previous simulator, there is a bit of a glitch back there, but it is a very, very good looking aircraft. Ignore the Phenom sat over there. But it is a very, very good looking aircraft. Iris always did make very good looking aircraft. I always thought that. Now, you might be wondering where we are. We are currently sat at not the normal scenery of which you would find me flying at. Seems we are flying the RAF's training aircraft. I thought we'd actually come to RAF training pilots #1 airbase, which would be RAF Cranwell. And that's exactly where we are. I have downloaded a freeware variant of the scenery. It's available on flightsim.to. Link will be down below in the description. And it is a scenery pack for RAF Cranwell. Now, if you do have the Iris Simulations Grob Tutor here, it will start to put in some of the repaints on these tutors, and you'll get some of the correct ones. Obviously, unfortunately, no, we're flying a display tutor here, and there's an exact same tutor sat there, so we'll ignore that. It's not too much to worry about. But like I say, we are going to take a little flight here in the Tutor, and I'm going to see what it's really like. So let's have a look. We looked on the outside. It is quite a basic looking aircraft. So let's look on the inside. And once again, Iris Simulations did a very, very good job in replicating the cockpit of the Grob Tutor. It's not all fully clickable, which is not par for the case with most aircraft these days. I mean, there is quite a few manufacturers now will start making, you know, the plugs here, the fuses, all clickable and everything. We don't get that here in Iris Simulations, it's replicated in the price. But we do get all the basic instrumentation that we need to fly this aircraft, and it is a very, very good looking place to be. I think, anyway. I think I've seen a lot worse out there in Flight Simulator world. Little panel gap just there, which I think would be a bit of an issue. We have got the canopy open at the moment, so yeah, that would be a panel gap that we don't need. But yeah, fabrics and everything look quite realistic, and you know, it's a very good looking aircraft, I think. We are going to take it on a little flight here from RAF Cranwell. We're going to fly it in the local area, and we are going to see what it's like. And just, is it an aerobatic aircraft? Is this a general aviation aircraft you could fly from, let's say, a normal general aviation airfield? Or is it a bit of a militarized aircraft? I will say now, I have flown it a couple of times now, and it is aerobatic. It will teach you things. It will teach you ground handling, and it will teach you how an aircraft does what it does, and which is pretty much what the Tutor T1 is designed to do. It is the first aircraft that a trainee pilot will get their paws on to fly. So it is, like I say, the basic RAF trainer. The next one up on the list after the Tutor would be the Prefect T1, which is a turboprop single-engined aircraft. We don't unfortunately have the Prefect T1 in the Flight Simulator, or the Grob of which it is based off. Unfortunately, there is no variant whatsoever, but we do have the Tutor, and that's what today's video is going to be. Me trying to fly a Tutor. Okay, so Trackir is set and is actually behaving. It's been a bit odd over the last few days. Anyway, battery on, generator on, fuel pump on. Nav lights are on. Okay, so now we'll get to the... This was the first bit that confused me the first time I flew this aircraft. You'll see that obviously you have your standard throttle controls, throttle, prop pitch, mixture controls, trim setting or trim wheel. And then you'll see the both left and right, and you will assume that this is your fuel tanks. It is your fuel tanks, but even though they're put on both left or right, there's still another one you have to have here. This is the tank turning on, tank turning off, basically. They're split. Normally there would be a off position here for the tanks. So we've set it for both. That's what we're going to start on. But you do have to select this to this position for the tanks to actually be feeding fuel, which is kind of important when you think about it. Right, so we're clear on the left side, clear on the right side. And parking brakes are set. So a little lever down the bottom here. So, like I say, mixture is set, prop is set, throttle is coming up a touch. This is obviously a basic aircraft, we don't need to pay attention too much to how we start this thing up. Right, so we shall have mags through to both, confirmed, and we'll have a clip up. And we have a good start. Right, so fuel pump can now come off. We shall have avionics now on. So I'll start powering up our controls and powering up our instrumentation, of which we will not be using. So, weirdly, this is not... Ah, that's better. Can't even read what that says. Standby, we'll have standby. Squawk 7000. We are military aircraft, so you know we should be squawking a proper squawking a proper squawk code, which we will not be doing. So 7000 will do nicely. So if I can just remember to turn this thing on, because it's a multiple instrumentation thing here. It does all sorts of things if I can remember how to... There we go. So we have... What do we got here? So this is our position, grid reference. That confuses all heck out of me. Altitude, time. This is the most important, I think, which is your closest, obviously, airport. So instrumentation, we have an altimeter, artificial horizon, temperature, oil temperatures, fuel pressures, electricals, fuel tanks, navigation, which I will not be using. and that's over for the instructor. So I do believe the Royal Air Force fly this way, so we'll set this for 0 because we are landing back here. Just running through the instrumentation. So again, we've got a multi-manifold pressure fuel flow 3-in-1 gauge here. We've got airspeed. So we will be airborne before 80, so that's what, 76, 77 knots. This is not a particularly fast aircraft, as you would expect. Artificial horizon, altitude, as you've just seen, RPM gauge, slip and turn, rudder, rudder, left and right, all that turn indicator, that's the words I'm looking for. We have a nav1, and we have vertical speed up and down. That's with that back to GPS, it's not how I normally want to fly. So we do have a clock. Everything else is pretty much what I want it to be. I'll zoom that in a bit. Right, so we'll have flaps down to 1 stage and confirmed. Mixtures pulled back. Okay, so we have a taxi light. Gotta remember. H1 don't need. Okay, so we're down to a taxi light. We do have a landing light, we'll have that on. So let's go out to the runway. Brake test. Brakes are good. Getting used to the controls of this aircraft, the rudder doesn't really respond too much. Obviously, I would believe this aircraft does not have nose wheel steering. It will be done with differential braking. I did look at the Royal Air Force's website for this aircraft, and I do believe actually a lot of them are based at RF Wittering, which is odd because I would have thought they would have been based at Cranwell, but hey, they are at Wittering apparently. So anyway, we'll click the button here and strip the canopy. Fuel pump can now come on. Pitot heat is not required. Landing lights, strobe lights are going to be on white. Instrument lights not needed. We are walking altitude. So landing lights are on, flaps are down. 1 stage. We have 2 stages, I think, of flaps. I think it is before full flap. So we're looking at about 80, was it 76 knots will be airborne. Plenty of space here for the runway here at Wittering. It will be a standard right-hand departure from Wittering. So let's roll out. On approach, we've got the runway. Runway 08. Speed's alive. There's 30. There's 40. There's 60. Passing 70. Rotate. Bit of a leap up off the ground there. Got a positive rate. Gear is fixed obviously in this. 90 knots. Flaps coming up. Twitchy little aircraft, but fairly good. 600 feet. Rate of increase in altitude. So flaps are up and confirmed. Landing lights are off. Fuel pump is off. Feet. A little bit over 100 knots. So as I said, this aircraft is based off the Grob 115, I do believe. A very successful light aircraft, is available in civilian market as well as the military. And this particular aircraft, the Duty T1, did replace the Scottish Aviation Bulldog, another aircraft I will be featuring very, very soon. In fact, the next video. So if you are a fan of previous RAF trainers, we are bringing out the Bulldog as well. Do have an autopilot, or it does respond, so we shall set that at hold autopilot, hold altitude, and altitude is holding, switch over to heading hold, and we are now holding. Now yes, I don't believe there's an actual autopilot option in this arrangement of instrumentation, which there isn't, but it does respond to the standard autopilot controls. I've got a G1000 sat in front of me, which has autopilot controls on it, so it's sort of cheating, but we get what we want. So we'll go to vertical speed, we'll start to climb. 600, 700 feet, and we'll carry on our climb up. Airspeed about 90. It's quite a nifty little aircraft. It's a fully aerobatic. This did fly in the Royal Air Force display. There was a display for this aircraft. I don't know whether it's still around in 2025. I don't know whether they've still got the plans for flying a Grob in the air display circuit. This one I think is the repaint for 2023, I think, or 2022. So to demonstrate the aerobatics of this aircraft, obviously I know we are what? We're going to get to about 3,000 feet before we start this. Just coming up on 3,000 feet. Good visibility today. Coming off autopilot, I have control. So demonstrate that this is a basic trainer for the Royal Air Force, but obviously is a fully aerobatics aircraft and is capable of being flown by civilians. So unlike a Cessna, we can do things like barrel rolls. So we'll knock the nose down a bit, gain some airspeed, transfer air altitude for airspeed, nose coming back, pull up, right turn. Watch the airspeed, watch the altitude. You won't be able to do that in a Cessna. So once again, we'll do it to the left. Nose down. Get over 100 knots. Nose coming back. And over to the left. So very much a fully aerobatic aircraft. So we'll also try, I can never get this word right, is it Immelmann or something like that? I can't remember exactly, I probably pronounced it completely wrong, but what we're going to do is, we're going to go inverted, hold a position, start to pull, and we'll basically be heading 180 degrees in the opposite position from when we started to manoeuvre. So, gain some altitude, roll ourselves over, hold, 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 and pull down. Now the airspeed, we did tick into the yellow there, don't we want to do that too many times, but we are now flying 180 degrees in the opposite direction. Get our bearings. I need to keep an eye on where the airfield is. There's the airfield, right, okay. So we have airspeed, we need to bring that back up again, we have altitude, we're clear all around. Let's try a stall turn. So nose down. It's 100. Pulling up. Get the vertical. Hold, bit of rudder control, kick, and around we goes. And a roll. And pull out. Stall turns are a lot easier when you've got rudder pedals. So you might be asking, what's the aircraft like on its stall handling? Well, we'll do that as well. So we'll be looking for good visibility. We have good visibility on both sides. Airspeed, we're just ticking over 100. So increase airspeed. Pull back. Hold it. Airspeed bleeding off. There's 80. There's 60. There's 40. And lost the left wing. Again, pull out. There was a video done by another fellow YouTuber, CG Aviator, and I think he was flying the Hawk, if you remember, refresh me? I think it was the Hawk T1 out of Valley. He's an ex-Hawk pilot, so he knows obviously a boatload more about maneuverability and flying and all that stuff. In fact, like I said, he used to fly the Hawk, and he does a stall in the Hawk and was very impressed by it. I don't think he'd be impressed by my flying skills in this aircraft. So we've got good visibility again. Let's go for another roll. So nose down, pushing up for over 100, nose back, left roll, and around she goes. The great thing about a training aircraft is that it is easy to fly, basically speaking, but it is difficult to master, and that's what makes a good training aircraft. You don't want the aircraft to do everything yourself, everything itself. So the Tutor does fit that bill, and like I say, I do believe that this was a previous version, another simulator by Iris. even in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 nowadays, it's still a very, very good aircraft. So let's start our descent. Airfield should be behind us. So we'll get ready for a landing. So we'll landing light on, fuel pump please on, thank you. Airfield is back behind us. Make one pass over the airfield and turn into circuit. Do a right hand circuit. Very good visibility here in the grub. Just keeping the airfield on our right wing. Twitchy aircraft. Wind conditions aren't that bad at the moment, but she is a little bit twitchy on the wings. Feet, runway heading. It's in level. We'll go into the brake. Keep it around 100 knots. So final checks, landing lights are on, fuel pump is on, flaps coming down to one stage, confirmed visually on both sides. Airfield's inside, runway's inside. Checks. Because we know that we got no other traffic in the area. make a quick backtrack. So front something up. Mixture pull back. Fuel pump now coming off. Lights will stay on. You do see a lot of these aircraft flying around Cranwell in real. I do a bit of aviation photography, and I have visited, obviously, Waddington and Coningsby a heck of a lot, but I have visited Cranwell. There is a spotter's location. It's not the best, but it's somewhere back over there, just outside of Cranwell Village. And yeah, you do get to see, like I say, a lot of the RAF's present training aircraft. Of the Tutor T1, like I said, the Prefect from earlier, that is here as well, and we also have the Phenom, or Phenom, going in and out of the area as well. Right, so we can have nav lights on, strobe lights are coming off, landing lights are, if I just click that, they are off. Have I just gone round in one great big loop? Yes, well done, Mr. Crafty, you've managed to do that. You've taken the wrong taxiway, that's the reason why, and that's what you do for paying for navigation. Air Force, the reason why the Air Force will not have me as a pilot. Clear on approach. My excuse is, RAF Cranwell is not an airfield I normally fly from, and I'm sticking to it. Here, I think that will be fine. We're not going to go all the way back up to where the tutors are. I can break this on. And shut down. Right. These just roll off. Nav lights are off. Avionics are off. Generators off. Batteries off. Flight Simulator has a little bit of a hickey up. Anyway. So there we go. The Iris Simulations Tutor T1 or Grub 115, whichever one you want to call it. I think it's actually a very, very nice aircraft. It's a little bit different. If you are a bit of a fan of the Royal Air Force, obviously, like I said, we have this in the repaint of the Royal Air Force display that was, I think, 2022. I can't remember off the top of my head. There is other repaints available as part of this package that cover the Australians, I do believe, if I remember correctly, some civilian ones, I should say, some more RAF ones for basic training, as well as an updated display, or the latest one as available when Iris released this aircraft. If you are after a little bit of a general aviation aircraft, a little bit different, yes, it doesn't unfortunately come with a GPS, you know, the GTN 750 or G1000 or anything like that, but it does teach you basic aviation and basic navigation as well, because you could actually nowadays in Flight Simulator fly this and navigate it how people did many years ago, like looking out the window. So yeah, I think it's a very good aircraft, a very good handling aircraft, and it's slightly different as it's fully aerobatic. So I will drop a link in the description below for RAF Cranwell. This was available on flightsim.to, completely free. I will also drop a link for the availability of the Iris Simulations Tutor T1, and in the next video we'll be taking the aircraft that this replaced, the Scottish Aviation Bulldog. So I look forward to getting that aircraft out. Again, we'll be flying from RAF Cranwell, and I shall see you in a future Microsoft Flight Simulator video very soon.